Hi, and thank you for watching this. If you're watching it live or catching the replay, either way, I'm just so glad you're here. So I'm Jen. I'm a culinary coach, a health educator, and a master herbalist. But really, I'm just someone who had to figure out how to stop and reverse my own autoimmune disease. So I've had an autoimmune disease. I hate using the word have. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease back in 2007. And at the time, I thought, I'm doing everything right. And so I didn't understand how could this have happened to me. And I thought that I really felt really good. But once you feel really good, you realize you didn't really feel good before. And so a lot of times we just get used to this is how I feel, or maybe I'm aging. And so I start getting sore, and that's not true either. And so there are different things that we can do to take care of our body. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, are different things that we can do. There's not a diet. We don't need a set of rules. We just need a way to live healthfully, right? And take care of our body the way our body is meant to be cared for. So if you've ever felt like your body was working against you, maybe you're exhausted, you have skin flares. I had a horrible, horrible rash for about 8, 9 months. Maybe your joints ache. Sometimes I get heavy legs, and a lot of times I'll get really puffy eyelids as well. Maybe you have brain fog. You just feel like you just can't even learn or remember things like you used to. Autoimmune disease can be very, very exhausting. And most of us don't get the support we need. We look like we're healthy and strong, and we tell ourselves we're healthy and strong, but the truth is we need some help and support. We need someone to understand us and not say, hey, you look fine, just get over it. So here's what people don't tell you. Autoimmune disease doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's the result of your body being inflamed for a while. You have some sort of genetic tendencies. There's been some sort of environmental exposure and some sort of immune breakdown. And so that causes some sort of confusion, not creation. So your body just gets confused. What am I supposed to be protecting you from? And what am I supposed to be attacking here? And so what you put on your fork day in and day out can also be helping you or hurting you. And so that's why I became a culinary coach, because I like to show people, these foods can help you, these foods can hurt you. And so I said it's not a diet and it's not restricting yourself, but it's finding the right foods for you. And it can't be a protocol. So that was the big thing for me. I was looking for protocols. Where's the autoimmune protocol? Where's the leaky gut protocol? And unfortunately, we are all unique. And I'm definitely one of those who's unique. I ended up having to have radioactive iodine. And the first time I had it, they told me it didn't work, that this had never happened before. It's a medical mystery. And in the conventional medicine world, you don't want to be a medical mystery because everything is based on everybody following a set protocol. Well, unfortunately, when we have autoimmune disease, you can toss all those protocols out because you are different. Your genes are different. Your environmental exposure that created this thing are completely different from everyone else's. When I started this journey, I was eating peanut butter toast with banana for breakfast every day. I was eating a lean cuisine for lunch every day, and then usually some sort of takeout with a salad. I had finished a master's in health science back in the 90s and had continued doing continuing education in nutrition. And so I knew all the things. I was making sure that I was following all the nutrition. I was getting the grains, right? Back then we had that food guide pyramid where it was grain based, where you needed all the grains. I was making sure I got the 5 a day fruits and vegetables. What a joke. 5 a day will help you to survive, but 5 a day will not provide all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. And so I was definitely missing a lot of things there. And what I know now is I cannot tolerate gluten. And so I was starting my day with, it was wheat bread, whole wheat bread, and usually a whole wheat bread that I made. So it was a healthy wheat bread, right? But it was gluten, and that gluten was definitely not right for me. Now, for any of my clients, I do work with clients one-on-one. For any of my clients, I tell them the number one thing you need to remove is gluten, unfortunately. And so I said restriction. I know you can roll your eyes at me, but if you have an autoimmune condition, you have inflammation in your body. And studies have shown, you can look up Dr. Alessio Fasano from Harvard University, several studies on gluten. It causes irritation to everyone's gut. If you already have an autoimmune disease, you're already inflamed, that's just going to add fuel to the fire. So gluten, it's got to go. And it can't be switched to gluten-free products. It can't go from muffins every day to gluten-free muffins. I got news for you. Gluten-free muffins are not healthy. Even though they're gluten-free, that doesn't mean healthy. And so we have to get rid of the gluten. And gluten is hidden in a lot of things. Gluten is in soy sauce, and so, going to eat a teriyaki or something, that's going to be adding gluten. And so it's hard. I understand, been there, done that. Then the next one is dairy. And so maybe you can tolerate dairy, but right now you're inflamed and we have to get that inflammation under control. And dairy is not anti-inflammatory. And so we have to remove the dairy, any added sugars. And so you may be having some major cravings when you remove that sugar because our gut bugs feed off of sugar, especially the ones that are not good for us. So we have the quote unquote good bugs, we have the quote unquote bad bugs, and then there's the commensals, and those can go either way. They can swing one way or the other. When we have sugar, we have ultra processed foods, which act like sugar in the body. Even pasta. Pasta acts like sugar in the body. Our gut bugs that could go either way are going to tend towards dysfunction. And if we already have inflammation from autoimmune disease, we need to turn that into a positive thing. So we have to get rid of the sugar. We have to get rid of those ultra processed foods, which includes gluten-free muffins, gluten-free cakes and pastries. Those are not a healthy whole food. And so a lot of times we go, but wait, what's left to eat? But I promise you, once you start looking at food in a different way, you can't believe all the different options. I was the same way. So for me, even though I knew all the things and was doing all the things, I was like, but I don't even know what a meal looks like if I don't have cheese, right? I don't have bread. I don't have pasta. What does that look like? But there are things that we can do. And so eating a large salad every day. And maybe you're picturing that restaurant salad, which is just the chopped lettuce, that white green lettuce that has a couple of slices of tomato and some cucumber. I mean, that's a wimpy salad. And as a matter of fact, I went on vacation this weekend and I said, I really should just travel around the world teaching restaurants how to make a good salad. And so a salad, number one, raw vegetables. Pull up Dr. Joel Furman. He has several books on why we need to eat raw and cooked vegetables every day. Both. I'm not a raw vegan. And so I do want to make sure that you're including some of these raw vegetables because they have these live enzymes that our body needs. Everything in our body runs on enzymes, and cooking destroys those enzymes. If we're inflamed, we need to add those enzymes. So green juices, that's another great way. Drink, celery juice or cucumber juice or combining kale and celery juice, maybe an apple or half an apple so your blood sugar doesn't spike and you still like the flavor. Those are fabulous ways to give yourself a mineral boost through a food. We don't have to worry about what ingredients are in those supplements when we're only using foods. The next thing is cooked vegetables. So raw vegetables and cooked vegetables. One of the biggest things you can have every day is a cruciferous vegetable. So kale, collards, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, arugula, all the many different cabbages, radishes, turnips. There's so many different cruciferous vegetables. And people will say, but I can't have that because I have Hashimoto's. Well, I've got news for you. If you eat 3 cups of kale or cauliflower every single day for months and you're deficient in iodine, then cruciferous vegetables may be a problem for you. But if you're not eating 3 cups every single day and you're making sure you're getting iodine every day, that's not going to be a problem for you. You can go back and look at those studies. It's true. And so cruciferous vegetables contain different chemicals that help to repair DNA. They help your liver to function and detox. And so it's so important to make sure that we're getting these cruciferous vegetables. Think dark leafy greens. So dark leafy greens in your salad, dark leafy greens in a smoothie or steamed. I love steamed greens. And so cooked, you can steam them, right? Berries. Berries are very high in antioxidants. They're so low in calories. They're also blood sugar friendly for most people. Once again, we are all unique. We all have different needs and requirements, and our body reacts different ways. But berries provide wonderful nutrition that we need in our body, especially for our liver, and providing all those different enzymes. I already mentioned dark leafy greens. Get them in as many ways as you can. Very high in magnesium, folate, not folic acid. If you're buying supplements that say folic acid is a man-made product. Our body doesn't recognize man-made products. That's where we go with those ultra-processed foods. Our body wants real, natural, whole vitamins and minerals that come in our foods. Folate is in foliage, It's also in things like beans and legumes and grains. And so eating those foods properly prepared. So then you say, but I can't eat that because it has lectins. Well, I don't want to hear another thing about lectins. Lectins are not a problem if you properly cook your foods. So if you soak beans overnight or 8 hours and then you rinse them and then you cook them, you're removing those lectins. What are lectins? Believe me, if you just Google it, you'll find out lots of information about lectins. Not everyone needs to avoid lectins and take the supplement that the doctor sells that tells you that you shouldn't have lectins. Everyone just needs to properly prepare their food. Healthy fats. So healthy fats are in hemp seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, avocados. So our hormones love these healthy fats. Even coconut, like fresh coconut. I wouldn't have a lot of coconut oil. And if you have really high LDL cholesterol, then let's choose these healthier fats. But hemp seeds are very, very high in amino acids as well as omega-3 fats. Hemp, flax, chia, walnuts, very high or wonderful balance of omega-3 to omega-6 fats, which are anti-inflammatory, wonderful for the brain, wonderful for the heart. And avocado and coconut are also good choices as well. Sprouted legumes and seeds. So once again, I said that with those lectins, you need to soak and sprout beans and seeds. That helps to remove those enzyme inhibitors like the lectins and other things. And they also help to maintain healthy blood sugar levels and such as well. So if you're thinking that's a lot of plants, well, guess what? That is so true. So we need to be eating what nature has provided for us, right? So many plants are out there and they are so important for our bodies and they're wonderful for nourishing all the different cells, our mitochondria, and helping us with energy. So for me, you have to remember 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. And so if you have an autoimmune disease, then you most likely have a leaky gut, which means you're not absorbing your nutrients, which is why earlier I said things like green juices are so important, because if we're missing part of our gut and or we have those harmful gut bacteria in there, then we're not going to be getting the nutrition that our body needs to repair our immune system. So we have to get that under control. Things that help with that are prebiotics, healthy fibers, foods that the gut bacteria feed on. So back in the 90s, we learned that fiber was to help you bulk the stool and poop. Well, now we know that fiber actually feeds those microbes, and there's different forms of fiber, and there's fibers that soothe the gut. There's fibers that feed those bacteria as well. We need the sulfur that is in the cruciferous vegetables. That's very important for not only detoxification and removing different toxins in the environment, but also for repairing our gut lining. And so we need those from those cruciferous vegetables. We need bitter foods. Here in the US, we want to eat as many sweet foods as possible. We're all craving these sweet foods where we really need the bitter greens. Those greens that are they're just everywhere, all around the world. It's things like arugula. It has taken me a while to learn to like arugula. But there are other greens, dandelion greens, even kale can be bitter for some people. Brussels sprouts are bitter, for sure. And so finding those that you can tolerate and learn to like them. So just like when we're feeding a baby, we give a baby food, we give it to them probably 10 times, and then all of a sudden they want it. Same with us. We have to just keep tasting it, keep tasting it. You know, even cucumber is kind of bitter sometimes. So keep tasting it and eventually you want it. And then you start having it every day. And then when you don't have it, all of a sudden you crave it. Those are foods that we really, really need. They help to stimulate our digestive enzymes, to help stimulate bile, to help us break down fats, and to help flush toxins out of the body. And then fermented foods, not like a Go-Gurt. I used to feed my kids Go-Gurt. I'm horrified that I even used to do that. That's a horrible, horrible food. Yoplait. They have lots of sugar and very cheap probiotics. So even though they say probiotics, a probiotic does not equal a probiotic. Make your own. It is so easy to make your own yogurt, make your own sauerkraut, make your own kimchi, and it only takes minutes. You know, everybody's like, well, I don't have time to do that. Believe me, you do. I have YouTube videos that can show you how, and I teach that in my um, culinary healing circle. I couldn't think of the name of my membership group. I have the Culinary Healing Circle where I teach people how to make these foods super quick and easy. There's a whole digital library as well. And so we want people to learn how to eat all of these different foods to take care of their body. So One thing, when I was first diagnosed with Graves' disease, they told me that I had to either have radiation or surgery. And all I could think was no. Number one, I considered myself at the time to be an expert in health. Remember, I had graduated almost 10 years earlier with a master's in health science. I had been studying nutrition for 10 years. I thought I was doing all the things and didn't think it was even possible that I could have had a disease that they said is incurable, right? And then my only options are surgery and radiation. No, no one asked me about my diet. No one asked me about my stress. It wasn't until years later that a doctor told me that I just needed to stop stressing. What? I was also going to the doctor in Atlanta and having to drive an hour and a half home. How do you drive an hour and a half home without stress in Atlanta? Anyway, no one asked me if I wanted to try something else. And so I just said no. My mom had gone with me because I was scared to death. I didn't even know, I had never even heard of Graves' disease at the time, right? I have a master's in health science. I never even heard of that. But I learned A, I needed to advocate for myself. And B, I needed to really examine what am I actually eating? What have I been misinformed about, right? And what do I need to really dig into and learn more about? I learned about nutrition. So when we look at, like, even today, when you look at the food suggestions or whatever we're supposed to eat for optimal health, it's not a food guide pyramid, but whatever the chart is, it says that half of our foods should be whole grains or half of our grains should be whole grains. So that means half should be processed. No, that's not for a healthy body. I learned herbs. I went to the School of Natural Healing. I went to the Living Foods Institute here in Atlanta. What else? I went to all sorts of different schools studying herbs. I became a master herbalist. I studied more nutrition. I went to this Nutritional Institute for endocrinology. And so I became a practitioner in nutritional endocrinology. And I also took classes in culinary medicine. And so I have learned that food is really key. Nutrition is really key. But there's other things as well. It's not just the food. I learned, yes, I thrive on stress. And so when the doctor did tell me I needed to stop stressing, well, that was true, but that wasn't really the right way. That's like telling someone to stop crying. That's not really helpful at all, right? They need to give us tools as well. So some things that are really helpful, a big green salad and rainbow foods. So I teach to all my clients and my membership group, rainbow foods. Get as many colors as you can on your plate. Every color adds a different vitamin, mineral, phytonutrient, maybe even something we don't even know about to our plate. And so we need those because our liver needs it. We need those enzymes and our immune system needs it. So a big rainbow salad, leafy greens, shredded beets, cabbages, sprouts, shredded carrots, anything, red bell peppers or one of those mini bell pepper mixes. That's a great way to get other colors. And then make your own salad dressings. When you read the labels of salad dressings, I haven't found any. Now I live in the middle of nowhere and we have really small grocery stores, but here I haven't found a grocery store salad dressing that's clean enough for me, and I can make one in minutes. I have 2 or 3 videos up on YouTube, very quick and easy, 5 minutes to make 3 different salad dressings. And so look those up. You can have a bowl of zucchini with some garlic and a veggie broth. Make your own ramen noodles out of zucchini or squash noodles or sweet potato noodles using leftover lentils. You can turn lentils into bread even. We make our own corn bread, quote unquote, out of lentils. And then my favorite dessert every night is walnuts and cherries and pumpkin seeds. That gives me lots and lots of nutrition. Those bright cherries are very anti-inflammatory. They also help with creating melatonin and help with sleep. And so it doesn't have to be fancy, right? But looking for colors, add colors to your plate. I also want to invite you to join me. If you would like to learn more, you want to go deeper, you really are interested in learning how to take care of your body in a healthy way and avoid those medicines as much as possible, avoiding surgery, avoiding radiation. I can't promise you that you're going to get away with it. For me, I did end up having radiation after my doctor told me I would die if I didn't. I now feel like I was definitely betrayed by the system because she retired right after that. And I had kept standing my ground and I finally gave in. And so I really wanted to share my story just so that I'm upfront and honest with you. So I do have to have medicine for the rest of my life, but I'm allergic to the medicine they give you. And so I really am a victim of the system, and I have to have special medicine made for me, which here in the state of Georgia is very difficult to come by. And so if you're in a situation like mine, I want to know, because I want to know how many of us have been betrayed by the medical system. It hurts. I feel hurt. It's hard for me to find the medicine that I need to get. As a matter of fact, it took me a whole year one time because my next doctor retired as well, and I couldn't find anyone who could help me here just because I'm in a crazy state that does things a little bit different than some other states. But I welcome you into my culinary healing circle, where you can join a community of people like me, like us, who want to reverse our autoimmune disease. Because even if you have the surgery and radiation, I've got news for you, it doesn't cure it. It just turns into a different form of autoimmune disease. That's what happened to me, and that's what happens to everybody else. You have to learn how to manage this illness and get autoimmune disease under control, reversing those antibodies. I can do it. So can you. So you can join the Culinary Healing Circle, culinaryhealingcircle.com. And I would love to see you there. There's a whole digital library full of videos, recordings. There's live classes every month. And I even teach Qigong. That's how I have learned how to release stress and relax. I hope that you'll join me. And if you like this video, please let me know. Subscribe to my channel. Share this with someone you know who is struggling with autoimmune disease and is looking for natural methods for their illness. I love to hear from you and hope that I can learn from you and learn with you, because I don't just teach, I learn as much from my clients as they do from me. It's a lot of love out there. And so best wishes to you on your healing journey. And I hope to see you in the culinary healing.